Hey YouTube, here to talk about battery cables that I've replaced. Now you can go to the dealer, which most parts stores won't actually carry battery cables for certain models, especially the diesel models. You have to actually go to the dealership. And the dealership where I'm at, which is now owned by Baxter, not Performance Dodge, they wanted for the battery cables for the entire truck, that's for both batteries and for the starter battery, or for the wire going down to the starter. They wanted, if I remember right, it was $750 before tax. And I know stuff for diesels are a little bit more on the expensive side compared to gas vehicles, but that was just a little ridiculous for me. I ended up doing my own battery cables, and I think I ended up spending around maybe $180 to $200. And so that's pretty much at least a $500 savings right there, which I would recommend. All these battery cables, I got connectors, any secondary posts that I had to wire in. I got both all thicker. This is all 2-gauge cables, even for the negatives. Your positive cables are 2-gauge wire. Your negative cables are, I think they might be 4-gauge, but I ended up switching it over to 2-gauge, so it would be a stronger current and a stronger ground. I think I bought 16 feet of red 2-gauge wire and 8 feet of black 2-gauge wire, and I think I ended up having leftover red cable wire too, if I remember right, so I didn't use all of it. But and your starter wire, which goes off of this here, that goes down to the starter, that is 2/0 wire. That is bigger than 2-gauge. It is 2/0 wire. I did not replace that one because it is still in really good shape, so I ended up just leaving that one. But like I said, I redid all the negative and positive wires, even the positive wire going into the main fuse box, and it stretches over here. And I just reused all the same wrap. I just used electrical tape just to make sure that it seals and stays shut. Other than that, like I said, I replaced everything with 2-gauge wire, especially for the negative wires too, because there's a lot of problems that can be caused just by bad connections. Especially, mine's a 24 valve, so there's a little bit more electronic stuff on it, so because I've had problems in the past with my overdrive on the transmission, which that ended up being to just a faulty battery connection. And it's pretty simple. I think it took me and another buddy, I think maybe just a couple hours to do all of it, and I soldered in the battery connectors, so there's good connections, other than this one here, because I had to run so many extra secondary wires. And this one, normal parts stores don't have 2/0 battery connector sizes. That was the other thing. But definitely worth doing it yourself. I saved probably $500, so I would recommend, if you are mechanically inclined at least, if not, find a friend or something like that, because that's $500 spent towards something else.